Okay, so this video is about the my life, I guess. Well, a very short version of how I came to be where I am, reading from the Institute for Scripture Research instead of reading from one of those corrupted Bibles like the King James version, because it's King James's version, and how I came to understand Yah as the Elohim of the heavens and the earth, and not God, and Yehoshua as the one who died on the stake for the sins of all mankind instead of Jesus. Um, so I started off in when I was young, I went to what do you call that? It's like a church, but it's in the middle, not in the middle of the night, but in like the evening time. We get on this bus and we went to this church where they taught us how to use money. I know it's weird. Uh, Doing things that they like jumping up and down and being excited, and they give you rewards for doing so, stuff like that. And I think I went a couple times. I just wasn't really interested in it. I didn't like the whole money part of things. I didn't like dancing or doing anything. I was still not like that. I don't like dancing. I'd rather sit in the corner and watch people. I like watching. I absolutely love to watch. Um, then I got taken from my mom when I was 8. Um, the school said that my mom had to have a job, but that she also had to teach us. And they didn't like the fact that my sister could write with her left and go, and once she got to a certain point, should switch to her right hand and continue writing perfectly. They didn't like that. They forced my sister to choose a hand. And that's a special gift. I've never seen anyone else be able to write like that. And she did it perfectly with both hands, and they didn't like that. Also, my mom really knew how to teach me a lot better than the school system was. So they're, again, shy person over here, doesn't like to talk to a lot of people and just sit in a class with 30 plus kids. Yes, I got put in the special classes, although I liked it. It was cool. There's a lot less people. I felt a lot more comfortable. Uh, but they came in the middle of the night. Uh, it was the neighbor who called the cops on my mom, saying that she was unfit. And all because there was a picnic table or a fire pit that was on their property, just a sliver, and they didn't like that. My mom moved it. I think I remember them talking about it. It was a long time ago. I was before I was 8, and now I'm 29, almost basically 30. So we went to social services, and they said that my mom was a drunk, and that's why they took us away. And again, too young to really understand. Um, they said that any disabilities that any of us had come across was because my mom was a drunk, and later found out that she didn't actually start drinking until they took us from her. And my little brother got, I think it was SARS when he was young. My mom took him to a grocery store, and I guess he caught it just along the way, really young. Um, what was I getting to? Oh, yeah, no. He is severely handicapped, and they blamed my mom, saying that she was a drunk, and that's why it happened. But that wasn't at all the reason. They lied through their teeth the entire time, and not long after that, they put me on pharmaceuticals to try to calm me down, because I was an ADHD child, even though I was in a new home for the first time, being ripped away from my mother. That was just never acknowledged. I do gotta say, my last foster care worker. I cannot remember her name for the life of me, but she was really good. I've never had a good one until that one, which was a shame because that's when I was leaving the system. Well, not leaving the system. I'm still in the system. You got a SIN card. You're owned by the government. That's the end of that. But in the system, in the sense of being in foster care. Um, so I went in 1 year. I went through 10 schools in 1 year, and they wondered why I was so distraught and why I was so energetic. I just wanted out. I didn't want to sit there and just because it was just gonna change again. There's no point. But they gave me pharmaceuticals anyways, and they blamed it on my mother, of course. Um, so turned 16. I kind of started researching a little for myself, but at the same time, I just wanted out. I wanted to leave the foster system that I was in, and I didn't like it, and so I went to my work at McDonald's, and I lit the basement on fire. Well, basically what I did was I took a plunger, but it wasn't a plunger. It's like that white brush thingy, and I lit it on fire and I shoved it into the toilet and I walked away. I could have caused a lot of damage. I could have killed a lot of people, and if I did, I'd still be in jail today. I'm so glad nothing happened. Praise Yah. I was a fool. I was gonna take out my anger on other people. Fool. Um, Anyways, they didn't charge me. I wish they had, because then I wouldn't have gone on to do what I did, which was like weeks later, just weeks later, barely 2 weeks, if that. And I started lighting fences on fire, and I tried to light a school on fire. Again, taking my anger out on other people. Such a foolish act. And me and my co-accused burned down quite a few buildings and garages that exploded into other things. We were out of control. My spree got me 10 years, or not 10 years, 10 months in the Young Offender Center, maximum security prison for youth, basically daycare. They could still have fights, and you had a locked room. Basically foster care to a little bit stricter degree, which is savage. It shouldn't be like that. But and then I spent 24 months or 22 months ISO probation, so intensive supervision order. So I had to be watched all the time because they didn't trust me. And I totally see why. I was an idiot. I was lighting fires. I caused over $1 million in damages in like 4 days. And I could have killed people. Again, fool. Went to CY. Got to see. I got to see them build a hovercraft. That was cool. Did some Boy Scout stuff there. When you're on the special unit, aka it's basically GP, like general population, where the calm people go, the people who aren't crazy go. So after I got out, I ended up going back again for 2 days or a day and a half, something like that. After spending 10 months in there, I went back for 2 days because I took a battery and I peeled off the top of it and I stuck some paper in there and I threw a paper clip in there and I'm like, look guys, a bomb. I wasn't allowed to have anything like that, and that was obviously on the list. No bombs, no lighters, no talking about explosions, no talking about fires, and to this day I still talk about explosions because controlled explosions are literally so cool. Anyways, but taking my anger out on other people is not cool. So I moved in with my mom, and she is a Christian. And that's when I started reading the Bible a little bit, got really into it. I was like, yeah, this feels right. The biggest and best lie is 9/10 of the truth, which is what the Bible is. The Christian Bible is 9/10 of the truth. So people take it as fact and they don't look it up and they think that they know it all because it says it in that book. You gotta test the book itself to make sure that His word is true and Yah is true. God is not. People who think they know God, they don't even know what they're saying. So I moved in with a friend ish, started smoking weed. I had asthma at the time, really bad asthma. Weed cured my asthma. It also cured me having to take the prescriptions that I was on. Oh, yeah. I was when I got off taking the prescriptions, I took them all, a whole week's worth, the night pills and the day pills all at once. Nothing happened. It was 2 weeks of I couldn't control myself. I couldn't control waking up. I couldn't control going to sleep because it was a drug that controlled that for the longest time, which I think is a mistake. And pharmaceuticals shouldn't be used at all. I think we should throw them out, all of them. They're garbage. Their long-term side effects are not worth it. Especially when there's plants on this earth that Yah gave us that we could use. The justice system calls them criminals for doing so. I think they're terrorists. They terrorize us with the thin blue line and their guns. And only criminals are allowed to have guns. Only cops are allowed to have guns. Oh yeah. Okay, so I started learning about that, and then I met this girl, Juliana. Amazing. The love of my life, basically. It was like love at first sight, but at the same time, I don't believe in that. I believe in like learning and getting to know them, and I asked her out, right? For my first time ever asking anyone out. I was like, I think I was 19, 18 or 19. No, 19 and a half is when I got off probation. So, well, a little over 19 and a half because those 2 extra days. Which I think added on like a month or something. But anyways, so yeah, I think I was 20. Yeah, 20, and I met this girl, absolutely beautiful. Her attitude was beautiful. Her body was beautiful. Her way of taking care of her siblings was beautiful. It was fantastic, like the perfect person in the world for you. She was amazing, and I abused it. Later on, I'll get to that. So I asked her if she wanted to start dating, and she said no, she doesn't do that. She does courting, and I was like, awesome, let's start courting. What is courting? And I was like, oh yeah, courting is when you basically be friends with them and get to know them on a personal level through friendship, not sexual crap that humans do nowadays called dating, where you gotta open your legs or you're not in love. That crap doesn't fly, and I don't agree with that crap either. That is what whores do. Um, so I ended up moving in with them. And they lived on a. Well, it wasn't really like moved in actually. It was more like I spent a lot of time there, like days on end. And they had real chores to do. It was really cool. First time I ever like, well, not the first time I ever cut wood, because the first time I ever cut wood, actually, I almost chopped my thumb off. I was a kid, and I wasn't using like an axe or something. They left me with well, they didn't leave me with a knife. Like I was sharpening it. I showed them that I knew how to use it, and then I was stupid and looked away. And don't ever look away when you have a sharp knife and you're actually using it next to your fingers, because that's how you cut your fingers, as I so graciously learned. Anyways, um, yeah. The first time I've ever cut down a tree, when I didn't even cut down the tree, I was just there helping with the tree cutting and all that stuff. This thing was about to hit power lines and all that, and it was getting weak, so we had to pull it down. We had to use a truck, and the whole tree came down and just crushed. It was so cool. Then they cut it up, and we moved all the wood out of there. That was the best family I've ever been with, aside from my own. Anyways, they moved out of the city, and I moved with them, and I lived with them for, I think it was 2 years, or about 2 years. And I was really like hardcore courting his daughter, Juliana, and I in the Bible, having sex is you getting married with that person, and anything outside of that makes you an adulterer and a whore. I I believed that if we had sex, that we would be married, because that's what the Bible says. And all these man-made traditions where you have to have like a celebration for it is just man-made traditions, and Yah tells us to not even bother with man-made traditions. So, in my eyes, I decided to try to have sex with her, and she said no. And well, I do regret the decision, because I should have respected her father's decision, and I didn't. Disrespectful. Complete blatant disrespect. Um, I think it ruined a lot when I did that. Uh, I ruined the trust with Jim. I ruined the trust with his family. And near that exact same time, I was also struggling with smoking cigarettes. I smoked a few out there, and then she caught me and gave me a scolding, and I stopped. But that's when I really started learning about the names, and I started telling them that what they believed was wrong. And I was like, I'm going to teach this to your children. And they kicked me out of the house. And I went to my brother's house, and they also were Christians. They weren't Messianics. And I told them the exact same stuff, and they treated me almost the exact same way. But I I was like a hardcore drunk. After they kicked me out, I just started drinking and drinking and drinking. I didn't care. I didn't even pay rent for my brother, even though I said I would. I just got drunk. And then I bought some airsoft rifles and some fireworks. We shot off a few fireworks in the backfield, and well, my family won't defend pedophiles, so they called, like, not my family, well, my brother called them and asked them if airsoft guns or fireworks were illegal, and I guess they took that into interpretation. This is another reason why I hate the law enforcement, because they're brain dead. They believed that I had military grade smoke bombs, and I had rigged the entire trailer park to explode. And the pedophile's parents said that I was a danger, and that my Facebook posts, which were completely like hardcore, we as a people are one, and we as a people do not deserve this garbage that we the people are accepting. Um, and they took that as a sign that I was a terrorist. And they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we just wanna check on you." And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, I guess you can come check on me." And they rode up with their vehicle and came right up onto the curb, and the door opened, and all I saw was people get out dressed in all black with these nice, beautiful guns, and they shoved them in my face, and they told me to get on my knees, and that they didn't say I was under arrest. They didn't say they were the police. They just told me to get on my knees, and then they started like identifying things after I was handcuffed, with my face to the ground. Again, hadn't done anything wrong. treated like a terrorist as such. I went to court, and the judge told me that my 200-year-old bottle of gin was a Molotov without a fuse. And I told her that any bottle of alcohol that's 40% plus is a Molotov without a fuse. But I really started researching, and I really started getting into his word, and then I fell off the wagon until about, I'd say about 3 months ago, when I really decided that, you know what, I have to know his name. I just can't leave it as is. Well, I think it was more like 5 months ago. I was just like, I have to know what his name is. I can't just sit around thinking, well, what is his name? And I'm looking at it in the Hebrew text that I can't understand, and I'm like, well, I don't know what it is. And my mom helped me look it up, and yeah, it's Yah and it's Yehoshua. Those are his names. The others are just idols. And then there's a bunch of titles that he has. And that's how I got to where I am now. And to be honest, if Julianne ever hears this, I hope she forgives me for my wicked ways, because I don't forgive myself for that. I can't. It's not in my nature to forgive myself for doing such a horrific act. I should have been more polite with them, even though they don't believe in the Old Testament anymore. They just believe in doing some of the traditions, like the festivals that Yah had told them to do, like in the Bible. And they couldn't handle the fact that Jesus is Greek for hail Zeus, and Christ is the Greek idol Christos, and Lord is the Greek word Baal for Lucifer, basically. And God, originally spelled G-A-D, is a pagan idol, and that Lord God is Baal-gad, and that it's all paganism, and it's all corrupt. But I wasn't saying that the scriptures were wrong. I was saying that the names were wrong. And, well, let's just say he dumped all of my stuff at my brother's, right in front of my brother's house, threw a tarp over it, and just drove away. I think he was very childish, and I believe he still is childish, but it's been so long that I don't know anything about them now. And if I could marry Julianne, I totally would, in a heartbeat. But I'm pretty sure that she doesn't care about me anymore, and that she probably moved on to some other guy. Not saying she's a whore, not at all. That is not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying that she probably moved on. And I know she's straight, so the only other option would be a man. Hopefully a real man, not like Adnan. Like I wasn't a real man. Him and his girlfriend, wow, that was some messed up stuff I'd seen. Anyways, they could be better. They could be right on track. But yeah, that's how I came to finding the scriptures. My brother and his wife found out that I was right about the names and I was right about the Bible, and they started doing their own research, and they came to be a lot smarter in the word of Yah, but I don't think they believe in the New Testament, which is actually a shame. But yeah, it's getting up to like almost 25 minutes here. Hopefully it loads. Yeah, anyways, may Yah bless your guys' nights and take care of us and open our eyes to see and ears to hear. Zionism is going to crush us, because that's what Revelation says is going to happen. No nation shall be spared. We have our chance to bow to Yah and ask for forgiveness and stop our sinful ways. But either way, we'll still get killed, but it's for his name. So either we fight for him until the end or we don't. And, well, you know what happens when you don't. And since he created all of us, it makes sense to just worship something that created you rather than something you created. Yeah, have a good night.